Okay, I think this is going to be our angle. We'll see how this works. I'm struggling with framing. I really want to get this primary chain on. I want to see what it's going to look like. I'm going to see if it's going to pose problems because we are going to go in a different direction if it's going to be an issue. This is the... I don't know if I'm going to be able to... It's the ACK Products Incorporated, San Jose, California. I actually have a like Cycle World article talking about these. I didn't memorize any of it, but essentially somebody started using HyVo chains for timing chains in a vehicle, and I can't remember if it was like Pontiac or Buick or something like that. I can't remember. Go look it up. But they pretty much decided that these chains are really strong. Well, then some guy out in California decided, hey, let's make those for flat track, I think is what the original drive form was. But anyway, super cool. I've seen them before in like magazines and old articles and that kind of stuff, but have this one now, and I'm excited to give it a try. You could get them with different drive sprocket sizes and then different chain lengths. So you could go change your ratios and stuff. I honestly have no idea. I compared it to a stock one, and it's not that far off as far as outer diameter. So I don't see how it could be all that much different. I think the other ones were dramatically smaller. I think they also had a special tensioner. I can't find anything on it. I can't find any pictures or descriptions or anything. If anybody knows of it, please let me know. But I'm just going to run a stock one and see how it wears. If it becomes a problem, maybe we'll make one out of like a stiff plastic or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out later, but can't know until I try it. So anyway, like I said, I really want to get this on. I want to see it. So we're going to get our new key in. I think I'm going to have to persuade it a little. One thing I will say, and I actually just got done doing this, it's a really good idea when you're piecing a bike together, especially an engine. If the parts didn't come off your engine, it's a good idea to dry fit a lot of things prior to getting to this point where I now have all my rollers, you know, set up with my hub and my bushing fitted. So I've got everything, all of this together because I wanted to make sure that the basket wasn't, you know, in some way going to interfere with just a stock set of rollers and a stock center hub. So I test fit that. It's super good. It moves very smoothly, and then I did test fit the drive sprocket, but it's pretty stiff. It doesn't want to just fall on and off, which is a good thing. It's not going to hammer itself, you know, and damage the crank. So I didn't want to get it on and then have to pry it back off of the puller. So I want to do all this kind of at once. Otherwise, everything else is kind of in place. We know where it's all going to go. So we're going to give this a attempt here. Like I said, I just really want to see this on here. I've been staring at it for a long time, and I'm very excited to see if it's going to work or not. Because if it's not, we're going to have to do something else. Hold on. That needs to be up. That needs to be up. Hopefully I'm not blocking your view. I think I've got a little bit of tension on it. Come on. I marked where it kind of wanted to go on, but now it's fighting me. I think the chain might be touching those stated. Oh, there we go. Sometimes you just gotta get down low. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to persuade this on a little bit. So I'm gonna get a drift and a hammer. We're not going wild here, we're just... You don't want that to fall apart, so check it every once in a while. gonna take a few taps because I'm really not putting much behind these. Whatever I don't get when I final tighten everything up, that'll kind of finish it. It's a delicate balance between wanting it to be like super tight and then wanting it to be want to go on, I guess. But I'm not mad about that. I have no tension in this yet, and it's not super floppy, so that's awesome. That means we aren't going to have to jack this tensioner blade way up. It should just take a little bit, and then that should be right where it needs to be. But man, that is exciting. That looks super badass. Oh man, I'm excited. I was also remarkably impressed, and I'm assuming this is really good material. I don't know why you'd make a race product that wasn't, but there is absolutely no chatter in this basket at all. It's just beautiful. When I got it, it was probably fairly on the rusty side, so I vapor blasted both the sprocket and the basket, and they came out just gorgeous. The chain I hand scrubbed and soaked in cleaner, and then soaked it in oil and scrubbed it. I'm happy with it. Could it be better? Yeah, but without using any abrasive, there was no way I was going to get it any cleaner than what it is. But there's no tight links or anything. Everything, moves very freely and nicely. So super happy about it. But this is complete overkill. I mean, this setup is it's obnoxious for a street use engine, and that's what this is. But again, it's another one of those things. I got all the cool bits all on one. The only thing I haven't figured out yet is I used to have a really cool Alloy Tech outer pressure plate, and I actually traded a guy for some stuff a while back, and now I'm kind of bummed because I wish I had it. So I have to decide what I'm going to run for an outer pressure plate. I'll just put a stock one on for now, but I would like to get something cool eventually, so I'll be hunting for something a little better than stock, but I could always order an SRM one, but it'd be cooler if it was old original. This center hub is in really good shape, so we may get in here and find that these don't need to be replaced, but we'll probably put some in. We've got new drive and driven rubbers, push drive, whatever you want to call them. But we'll crack it open and see how bad it is. I have an old... See, I've cut it flat on two sides so I can hold it. Once you have to compress them to put the new rubbers in, it helps to have something anchored like this. Sometimes these want to go, sometimes you need to get out the old impact driver, which it looks like we're going to be doing. If you're committing to cracking this thing open, have another set of screws on hand, because chances are you're not going to get them out without chewing them up, if they haven't already been chewed up before you get there. Jeez. Also, there's been some where, like, the components are all in pretty good shape, but they're super worn out on the inside, the rubbers are. And so, and then the screws didn't want to come out. I mean, I was just fighting them. I've actually taken a drill bit with, like, a really good sized head that's, like, almost the exact chamfer as the top plate. And I'll drill them out so you can safely get the head out of the way, get that plate off, and then there's enough thread exposed you can get like a vice grip or something on them and get them out that way. It's not ideal, but it does work. Gives you more room. Okay, let's see if I can. If you can't get a grip on any of the edges, sometimes you can knock it crooked. And then that'll give you some edges to work with. Like that. And then just kind of bounce around, I guess. Now, yeah, these are actually in really good shape. But like I said, we're in here, so I might as well put new ones in. My work area is a bit of a mess because I actually started in on the rockers. We'll talk about that later, but I've got a bunch of junk out here and it's all in the way. Okay, so if you look, they're actually in really good shape. A lot of times you get in here and there's nothing left, but there's some breakdown, you know, here and there, so we'll start fresh. You can actually get away with it. This is where you're going to stop. You know, this isn't full of sludge, so I'm not going to have to like go crazy on cleaning it. Just a rag is going to do it. So because it's not that wild, we're just going to leave this back plate on. We'll make sure our screws are tight, but I'm not going to go trying to rip those out too. We'll have all the access we need from this side. So here's where a special tool comes in. I have one that holds both inner and outer. It's for like if you're tightening your main shaft nut or disassembly use or whatever, but this is a handy tool. You could take an old steel and then just booger weld a strap to it like this guy did. I don't know where I got this, but I've had it for a long time, but this works too. So if you've got an old steel, it'll work great. And the same goes for this. You could take an old friction and an old steel and like bolt them together and then fasten something to it. I mean, you can come up with whatever you want, but it works. But you definitely want to have some leverage. I mean, this thing's fairly long, and so then that way I can actually use my whole body and I'll like get it under my arm and lean into it, and then that'll allow me to have enough room to pry all these rubbers out, and then the same thing when I go to put the new ones in. Yeah, these are just falling apart as I pry on them. They're cracking and ugh. Yeah, again, I don't know, they don't look horrible, but it's a good opportunity to start fresh. I'll show you. I mean, eventually if you keep watching my videos, you'll see I'll probably do one where it's just gonna be sludge inside here. All this rubber turns into just paste from breakdown and oil and age and heat and just hammering, and it just turns into a big mess. I've always thought about, I watched a video a long time ago of some guy making homemade bushings, and I always thought it'd be interesting to get some of that resin that they use for those high-end bushings and pour it into one of these and see how it performs with like a higher grade, like modern rubber stuff. But oh, I want that to stay. I want this to come off there. So now you can kind of get a look down in there. The groove isn't bad. You can see where it's been riding, but it's definitely not that bad. I've seen some where it's, you know, damn near a quarter of an inch deep, but everything looks good. All the components are in good shape, so I'm just going to clean this out really quick, and then we'll throw it all back together. All cleaned up. Again, super good shape. You can just start to see where the steels were touching. No chatter at all, so I'm not worried about anything hanging up. Very, very pleased with that. Nothing wrong with this. There's not much to look at other than like the wear that it's going to suffer on the back side of these paddles, where they rub into the back plate there. But again, this one's in pretty good shape. You can see where it's been, but nothing to cause any concern. You know, and then if you kind of glance at it, you can see there's a shape. If you look at your big rubber, it wants to live here. It's got this kind of curved section and a flat section. The flat goes against the paddle, the curve goes against here, this round area, obviously. And then your small one, it's going to sit in here this way, where the curve goes against the paddle and the flat section goes against where the screw goes in that hole there. So hopefully that was all visible for you and you could tell what I was meaning. But I'm not gonna lie, putting these rubbers in isn't the easiest job. It's not the hardest job either. It's just kind of really annoying. Maybe some of you guys that have a little more lead in your pants that can get behind it. I just seem to struggle to get enough leverage when I'm starting these things. So I actually like to put the small ones in first because it just seems like it's less effort to compress those. Again, you guys might feel differently about it, but this is just my experience. So I'm going to get all 3 of the smalls in, and then I will put in the bigs. I'll try and do it by hand. I may grab a screwdriver or something to help me wiggle them, but usually they don't fight me too bad. Okay. I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing here, but it's mostly just me struggling. One last one to do. I might be able to fit it with this in place. I gave myself a little bit more room to work here. Okay. Alright. They're not all super even yet. I'll push them all in place, but... Oh. Keep doing that. You can look that my 2 surfaces are still flush on the back there, so everything looks good. I'm happy with that, because what can happen is you're sitting there messing with it and rocking it and moving it. This will actually fall out, so you want to make sure that stays in place. So then when you put your top plate back on, it fits without a fight. But yeah, these are all in place. Again, they're a bit proud in different spots. So I'll probably drive them down in and make them all sit nice and even, but that's how you do that. I don't know, maybe that wasn't a very good example of how to, but it at least gives you an idea. I'm gonna finish cleaning this plate up. I'm gonna get it installed, get the new screws in, and then this will be ready to go on, and then we will get our outer drive nut, and then that kind of wraps up where I'm gonna go there. I need to soak my clutch plates, and then we'll see. I don't know what we're gonna do next. There's a few more things primary wise that we still will have to do, but we'll stop here for this video because usually it lasts like 10% is kind of all together. So primary, timing, top end, all that is just going to be kind of slowly whittled away, I guess. So we're going to call it on that. I'm really happy. We've got good movement on everything. I haven't set the tension just to kind of see where that's going to be, but like I said before, it's already close, so that's really exciting. I need to get my rotor on here and check my gap, make sure I don't need to shim this out or anything, and then get my rubber boot on there. But otherwise, I'm really excited. I just love the way this looks. It's super cool. I'm sad I have to cover it up, but I just wanted to get this side together so I could see how cool that HyVo setup looked. It's just really fun to appreciate nice parts, even if they are kind of redundant and silly. I think that this definitely qualifies as redundant and silly with the fact that it's just going to go on the street. You know, these were intended for racing, and I'm just going to putt around and goof off. Rockers still aren't in. I still need to finish polishing those, but I like to just keep putting these back on because I just think it looks really good. So they're just sitting on there just to look at. And then talking about timing side here, we're pretty well done there. I do need to put my oil pump on. I've got a Morgo. I should run the Morgo. I should run the new Hepalite. I want to try one of those new Hepalites and see what they're all about. But I've got this Morgo, so I'm kind of debating what to do. But that needs to be installed. Otherwise, this is all ready to go. And then I can get that timing cover on. I am super excited to get the timing cover on because it is going to look just so cool with this whole side finished up. I mean, the whole engine just looks wacky. It's so weird. I need to polish some inspection covers. This one's gonna get a hole in it. I'm gonna breathe through here, and so this one will get a hole in it, and then the trans one will just be normal. So I need to get those things done, but yeah, a little bit at a time. We'll call it here, and I'll do something else next week and hopefully get a little bit further, maybe something a little bit more substantial as far as aesthetic on the outside. But I'd like to get those rockers done and get those rocker boxes on. Well, we may not be putting them on because it won't fit in the frame with them on, but we'll at least have them ready.